Okay, so welcome back. Today's video is about the module 5 quiz. So the questions are going to be about for loops, ranges, and list slicing. Today I'm going to be using my tool, the tool that I used last time. This is my application that I made. If you want to use it, you can just visit this website over here. All right, so let us jump into the questions. So the first question says, what's the output of this code? So over here we can see we have a list, and in this list we have numbers. Okay, so we need to find the position of given numbers over here. So this is indexing at work. All right, so let's look at the question. The question says print list and then index of list 4. So let's look at what this is all about. So over here we have a list, right? Let me write it here. And so we have square brackets, right? Outer square brackets. And then inside this we have list, and then we have square brackets which says 4. So the approach that you have to use when you have a question like this, you're supposed to use an inside outside approach, right? So you start from the inside and then you go out. All right, so this is indexing, right? You guys can agree. So this is pointing to a value which is on index 4. So list 4. So let's check out which value is on index 4. This one is on index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 is on index 4. So I can replace all this with a number 5, okay? With this number 5. That's what this means now is list index 5, right? List index 5. So let's look at list index 5. So this is equivalent to list and then index 5, like this. All right, so let's go to check out which one is on position 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 is on index 5. Put an 8, check it out, and that's the correct answer. All right, let's continue to the second question. The second question says, what does this code do? All right, so you need to analyze your code and see what each line is doing. Let's look at line number 1. For I in range 10, what is this line doing? All right, so I'll come up to my blank slate over here in Sublime Text, and so I'm going to use a for loop for I in range 10, right? This will print numbers that range from 0 up to 9. So if I'm to print I, to prove that, save and run, you see down here, let's see, for I, okay, for I here, I'm supposed to put I. Control save, Control B, you see down here, right, we have numbers from 0 up to 9. Okay, that's the first line. The second line, this one, if not I modulo 2 is equal to 0. So let's see if I modulo 2 is equal to 0. So first let's look at this one, because it's saying if not I modulo 2, but this one I want to see if I modulo 2, what do we get back? Okay, so if I save and run this, you'll see I get a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So what's happening here? So if I modulo 2 is equal to 0, so what this means is if this number here that we're getting, since we're getting 0 up to 9, so is 0 modulo 2 equal to 0? We're looking at the remainder. Modulo looks at the remainder. So 0 divided by 2, do we have a remainder? If it's equal to 0, then print it out. So that's why we printed a 0 here. And then is 1 modulo 2 equal to 0? No. We'll get a remainder of 1, so it's not going to be equal to 0. And then is 2 modulo 2 equal to 0? Yes, if we divide 2 by 2, and then we get a remainder of 0, so we print out the I here. So we printed out the 2. And then the next line is going to be 3 modulo 2 is going to give us a remainder of 1, so it's not going to be equal to 0, so it won't print here. 4 is going to print out because it gives us a remainder of 0, so that's what goes on. So that's why we have even numbers down here, right? So that's why I have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. However, I can reverse this by putting a not, right? Not, and then so it's going to print the odd numbers. So I can prove this, save and run. You see down here now I have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, right? That's what I have, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. All right, so this is what we have. So it's saying if I add 1, what happens to these numbers? So save and run. You see down here it gives me 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. All right, so that's the answer. So it prints all even numbers between 2 and 10. So this is the answer that we have. Check it out. That's the correct answer. Okay, the next question, the third question, it says fill in the blanks to iterate over the list using a for loop and print its values. So a for loop is like for something in that given list, we want to print the variable. So this is what we are going to print here. So this is easy and straightforward. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says fill in the blanks to output the first 3 characters of the input string. So over here, x is equals to input, the input function. So the input function, we use it to get information from our user. So the user is going to enter their information over here. So whatever we get, we're going to store it in this variable called x. So now we want to access the first 3 characters of whatever the user, punches in. So we can start from 0 up to 3, even though we know it's going to, print 0, 1, and 2. The third index will not be printed out. So what we get back is already 3 characters, right? So that's how this thing is going to work. So check it out. That's the correct answer. All right, let's continue to the final question. The final question is, what's the output of this code? So we have x, which is a list of numbers with 6, 4, 2, and 9. And then the second part is we are reversing. Oh yeah, this is reversing the x, and then we store it in the x variable, and then we print out these positions. So let's check it out. Let's see how this is coming out. So we have a list called x with numbers 6, 2, 4, and 9. I'm sure that's what we have over here. 6, 4, 2, and 9. Yeah, 6, 4, 2, and 9. 6, 4. Okay, 6, 4, 2, and 9. Okay, so having these numbers in this list, this next line is assigning the variable x to what? To the reversing of this one. So how do we reverse? We say no start colon, no end colon, but then we use a step of -1. This is what's happening. This is what is happening over here. So if you guys remember list slicing, we said here in this first position we have to put in what? The start, and then in this second position we put in the end. All right, so these two numbers will be separated by a colon, and then the last number is what we call the step. But if you don't specify the start and specify the end and just put in the step, then you are traversing through the whole list. So that's what we're doing. All right, so we will see that if I print this out, I want to print the x. If I save and run this, you see down here I get a reversed list. Now it's starting from 9, 2, 4, 6, right? 9, 2, 4, 6. So from this list, what we want to do is we want to print position what? There's position 0 plus we want to add this position 0. Which number is on position 0 here? It's 9, right? And then we want to add it to the position number 2. So over here we're gonna say x square brackets 2, right? If I save and run, you see down here I get a 13, because we added the 9 and the 4. So this is retrieving the 9, and this is retrieving the 4, and so we add these together. So indexing is about retrieving a given element in a list. So that's what we did. So here is going to be a 13. Check it out. That's the correct answer. All right, so I want to thank you for your time. In our next lesson, we're going to look at functions. All right, for now I'm out. Bye-bye.